Well, today was ridiculous again. I was at Mentors by around noon. I went to leave and some old woman came in. Judge Pete, you're right. She's not very pretty anymore. It's like, shut up. I mean, seriously, shut up. I don't want to hear about him and his daughter Michelle anymore. They're not funny. Okay, I go to get out my vehicle. Well, there had been men following me, went into Bubba's. They're sitting on the, what is that? The patio. And they're like, look, we told those boys, we already knew they photoshopped a shower scene and we all heard them admit to doing it. Okay? They sold a log. I go down to Sheets to use the restroom. There's two men in there getting ready to order food. We already told all those boys that none of this is funny. We all know they raped her. Okay, I go to Walmart. I'm walking around talking to my one friend on the phone about what had just happened. And I said, Walmart has all those tapes. I said, even there's an officer that works here for the protective light case, helped work after the gunshot night. He's tall, he's white, he has gray hair. He came up to me and said, Karen, I'm an officer. I'll walk you out. And he said, I'm actually the one you sing to at night. He listened to me because I'd sing love songs in my room at night and try to relax. He's like, I forgot to look into something. I'll take care of it. And he walks into the security office. Okay. That's before I moved out in March of 19. Actually April 4th. Because the police would take turns watching for the protector like custody. Well, I went to leave him one of the workers. Well, that's someone the police protect. And they were talking about the police need to take care of this. Okay. I go to leaving some of those idiots for Ravenna pull in as I'm walking out of my car. We were going to tell those people they better not say anything to about what's going on here. It's like, shut up. People ought to be on FBI.gov, submit a tip, help Karen. They admitted in Tater's office last Thursday by noon. There were some of them with the computers, how they're going to start processing more people like this. This is not the law and how the law processes people. You do something wrong, the police come up and ask you with Miranda rights. You don't have to talk to them. You have a right to remain quiet. They have enough, they take it to the prosecutor. They'll subpoena you there with an attorney if you can't afford one. One will be appointed to you. And you still don't have to talk to them. You have a right to remain quiet. Then if they have enough, they take it to court trial in front of a judge and jury. And then you're found guilty or innocent. It's that. Nothing else. The only time they can be in your house is protective light custody. Per Department of Justice, police and agencies can only be in a home underneath the threat of life. Failure to notify of a threat of life before initiating and speaking to the other person in the home is abuse and misconduct, and failure to protect is abuse and misconduct. Who do you report them to? Department of Justice, FBI, ICE, and local police department. It's Fourth Amendment right to privacy, make it not admissible, a legal search and seizure. Now, last night I got home from work. My neighbor said she heard someone over here around 11:30. She didn't call anybody because she thought it was me. Well, I didn't clock out till almost 11:30 at my work. I didn't get home till after midnight. There was someone in my home. My home was ajar. The door was ajar. And there was lights on inside. Somebody got my apartment again. I'm not safe. I put the refrigerator in front of the door. I'm not safe. They told Ed December 9, 21, maintenance man at Oakland apartment. All the tapes before were them, not her. It's just a bunch of men doing crimes down here. He told the African-American man that came up to him the same thing. Okay? And he told investigators in the Canton police. Now, December 9th, 21, by 1 o'clock, Stark County Hunger Task Force, there's a white man, bald with dark eyes, comes out and looks at me. We always knew the tapes before were them, not her, so we never said a word. He was one of my security guards. He talked to several investigators. They said it's some guy named Eric, and they don't know who he is yet. November 24th, 21, Altman, Stack here, Wales Road. An officer in uniform comes in. The Massillon police work the case because they watched Dix on my daughter-in-law on Federal Avenue. He said, I'm in here to watch her. There's a Steve and Eric stalking her, and we don't know who they are yet. It's finally got funny after everything they did. Nothing's admissible. No, it's not. They can't break in roofie drinks, stab you with needles, tape you unaware in your home and stalking. You don't get a court order for a mama's attorney friend either. I've never even talked to them. I've never been questioned or accused of wrongdoing. No officer, no agent, no man, no lady, no attorney. I was raped and tortured by a dirty cop, a white man, 6 foot, shaved head, dark eyes, 6 foot, stocky, 200 pounds, dark gray truck from the courthouse. They corrupted a couple of the cops up there. Dave was dating Judge Pete's daughter, Michelle, a young blonde girl. He's a retired judge. He looks like a little white Santa Claus. His picture's hanging on the wall, 1819, pulled the courthouse tapes. He was friends with Ludick, doing the cute skit in the back. Before you had us look into it, you knew she couldn't handle it. You knew she appreciated us doing it. You can find she did nothing wrong. Judge Pete walks by in a robe, and then Judge Timothy comes in laughing, ready to begin. Some of my security guards said they did that cute skit so you'd feel good about yourself because everybody knew you were innocent. Well, he's not funny. Trying to already had me framed and drugged up. They have fake FBI badges. They had that man pretend he was FBI for a call Wilbeck. They said they did it on purpose. Where I couldn't remember to tell them is because they were amnesia drugging me. They lied. They had sodium pentothal reports. Hard to tell them what was in those needles. I had bruises on my arms and my legs, and I couldn't explain where they came from. And here they were abusing me under drugs, making me get me say stuff and I wouldn't remember. What's the law of confession? No, of course, confession is admissible. You can't roofie and you can't stab somebody with a needle. That's crazy shit. It's a terrorist group. It's domestic terrorism. If you look underneath the law of domestic terrorism, they're domestic terrorism. Now, they even framed that FBI at Altman Hospital March 13, 21. They have fake badges to get in the back. No, there is a real protective life, guys. Well, at the Canton FBI set up. September 27th, 18, I had, excuse me, I had called the hotline. Took a couple days for Will to call me back, and I went fetal. And my head was swimming, and I was crying, and I was so upset, not realizing all those attempts on my life was my ex-husband in that church. That how stupid was I? And now I'm out in the middle of nowhere, and he has me surrounded, and nobody knows me. And what was I gonna do? And where they were leaving threats in the mall, I had to get up the day before I called Will back. I had to mow the lawn just to get enough air in my face to think. My head was swimming from them drugging me up. And I called Sarah, will you witness for me? She's like, yeah, Karen. It's scary the way that she talks about it, where Katie was leaving threats in the mall. So I took and put Will's number in it, put it in a card for getting married, took it out to Kay's Jewelers, and her manager put it in the locker. Okay? And we go on to Apostolic Church of Barberton. Paul Paper got on Dave's face. My God, I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. Well, I walk off and sit down. He's staring at me. Dave comes in. Let's go. We get out in the vehicle. You call the FBI on me. What did you expect? You have these people threatening my life, and so are you. And he's screaming at me how to take care of myself, and he's got a loaded gun between the counts. I tried to put my arm on it so I couldn't open it. He knocks it off, and he's screaming at me till I got my hand on the doorknob. And I'm ready to jump out. We get home, and I have to wait till the next morning and call Will. And the next morning I get up, my head's swimming. where I could have told him about the attempted kidnapping, the attempted carjacking, the guy was at Huntington Bank. I forgot all that. I remember the what a shame guy. And he's like, I won't help you unless you have a witness. And it's like, there's Sarah at Kay's Jewelers. And he's like, okay. I said, I've already talked to her. Unless he would ask for a witness, I wouldn't remember that. I couldn't remember that guy was at Beamer's. It looks like that guy from the cooking show. Young up his face, fill it out. More hair because he's younger. It's an image of him. Same glasses. Drove a medium blue car. They were talking about it in April 14th, 22 in Save-A-Lot. They really did have a man pretend he was FBI before she called that agent back. Had people pretend they were kids, bad-mouthing her. It wasn't her kids. Right? And the whole time it's been these people hurting her. It's that sick. He listed me informant, turned me over to the police for protective life custody. I never had to stay quiet one day. Because I would have said, hey, Will, if they wouldn't have drove me up, some guy just told on me. He would have said it wasn't one of ours, and he would have connected it really quick. He didn't even mention anything. And the police in uniform never did either. Besides, one time they looked at me and said, trust me, we're never interested in you. One of the undercover police, June of 19, Liberty House Sheriff, told the North Camp police and other people in there for security because I had almost been murdered. The worst thing you ever did wrong, honey, is you bent over probably. We can wipe that one out because he caught Melissa telling her kids to lie. And that was one of her mean lies. I bent over and probably instead of saying, oh, grandma was on the back of your legs, varicose veins, the right behind my knees. Here, hope Papa I get changed while we're video chatting. They lied that on a nightgown I didn't own. And said they see my butt 9 years ago. Yeah, right. I even had Dave even verify I always wore that big tent nightgown, underwear, and a house coat or leggings and sweater and a house coat. My grandkids are over, and I just bought those new nightgowns. I'll put some laces in that tent one. He's like, I know. Yeah. That was her first lie. I mean, I even got witnesses for the second lie. They already told me, Melissa's so stupid. She made everything up when you were fishing with Dave. She's actually that stupid. She didn't check where you were. It's how they put it. Her first lie is about over probably the second lie. Now, I got Jen and Dave admitting in my phone that they took 2 bites at the table, ran the basement, had pillow fights with the boys. And we walked outside with Watermount with John, Noah, Dave, Jen, and Gabe. And you could hear the kids laughing and playing in the basement. We had a split level. There was a couch, bathroom, and a TV and the puppies. They didn't have to come upstairs. And I'm outside. It got too warm. We walk up into the kitchen, and we're dishing up dessert. We barely sat down. And Dave comes in, John left. I'm like, well, he didn't say goodbye. He's like, well, he left through the basement. He was in a hurry. Well, they lied that they came upstairs. I was supposed to be weird with myself in the bathroom, and they're looking through the cracked bathroom door, and I'm like, ew, and I'm outside with everybody else. Third lie, they'll make up something, call you a bad word. The fourth lie, they told people I vandalized their church. The fifth lie, what was the fifth? That I broke in a home, tying my arms and legs to a chair, knocked it over, kicked it over, and jumped out a window. I'm like, dear God, I'm in my 50s. Sixth lie, I shot up a home and killed someone. That would be Dave. And they got him dead to rights for that one if someone did die on the gunshot night near Christmas 18. He met outside the house. There's a police report of a shooting in that area. And he meets up with the shooters talking outside the legally booked house in the male nurse's house to verify the gunshot night. Yeah, they need to look into that. It cost me getting tortured. Before we can't have her state what happened up there. No, and then I was raped and tortured by a stalker cop, an old fat white man. The cops in uniform up there, it's hi, sweetie. They never mention anything bad. The prosecutor, Abigail Watkins, never mentioned anything bad, or the sheriffs. They didn't want me to report Dave, but they didn't mention anything about me. No, the Ravenna police even told FedEx October 2020, for we all know this woman's innocent, for we all know. And like Reinhardt said, with it being a judge's daughter in that county, they couldn't work a case against you your whole life. Be thrown out for conflict of interest. They would have had to call the FBI. FBI would have had to knock on my door. And will never mention anything he didn't know. I think he underplayed the situation, that it was a stalker and they were threatening my life, and the police could handle that. Listen, me informant, no man's ever touch me again if they want to be that evil. And they said he left me on his desk. I'm not mad at them for leaving me up there to die anymore. I just need help. Being followed and harassed, it's about time people are coming to their senses. My one client out of town in Canton, his next door neighbor said it out the door or window. We all heard that bastard admit to framing you March 24th, 22 to apartment buildings for me at 1:30. You framed her before? Yeah, I framed her before. Shame on you. I know. I wish I wouldn't have done it. Those people even raped her. They sold that on the internet. Domestic terrorism on ungodly levels. This is not the law. They did not have a court order to watch me. Officer Reinhardt started giggling about the situation. He's like, don't you worry, a little thing. I said, well, they're supposed to put a shower scene in the room. He started giggling. Don't worry about it. I said, but they're supposed to drug me and told me to say something stupid. I never talked to anyone. I have bruises. Don't worry about it. It comes down to no matter what. Until we'll agree to protect you. And that's the only reason you can be in somebody's home. It's illegal to be in somebody's home, and it's illegal to look and listen. So where they use these people's low IQs, saying they had a coroner watch me, nobody can be in anybody's home. It's the protective life custody. You have to give a formal statement. They have to agree to protect you. And then the other person, where the heavyset cop made a public statement. I asked Dave about those people threatening her, and he better not put his hands on her until I find out what's going on. That was within a few days at the food counter in Walmart. Yeah. Even a child 3 Saturdays ago was in Dollar General talking, Mom, those bastards actually framed her before. And she's like, yeah, I told these people to stop saying stuff to her. They've watched this. They sold a login to the Protective Life case by Christmas 18. People watch this like a reality show. Like it's funny, like I'll be okay in the end and they're trying to kill me. They've actually watched them rape and torture me. And they think it's funny. It's about time the men start getting around here, get mad. We told those boys none of this is funny. They said it in Sheets today. Before once, we all know those they raped her. No, it's not funny to rape and torture a woman. It's not. It's not funny to drug up a woman and tell her to say something stupid. It's not funny to stab somebody in the neck and chip them and cut their head open and then frame the FBI for it with fake badges March 13, 21 that the agency did. The agency didn't know anything about it. Matter of fact, when I went in a couple of months ago to the Canton FBI, they didn't know anything about it. And they're in there with fake badges in Altman Hospital emergency room, flashing them to get in the back. It's terrorist. Our U.S. government recognizes remote neuromonitoring and electronic brain links as a legal strategy for the truth. U.S. Supreme Court 18-10134. Put the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th over it. Okay? They wouldn't break the law. And they wouldn't have one of their guys go out and tell them on me the night before for obstruction to justice and go to jail either. And they don't use sodium pentothal. And they don't drug people because it'd be thrown out. And they don't illegal surveillance anybody because the case would get thrown out. It's the protective light custody cases only. And I'll tell you what, until I went and talked to them, I don't even think they pulled Will's protective light case. Because I said, I got some tapes from the case where David admits that the church is taking up money to hire men to kill me. The one agent said he didn't know anything about it. He lied to a Fed. That's a big no-no. You don't have to talk to him. But you can't lie to him. I thought, he said it inside the legally bugged house. I got him to get onto all kinds of shit. Waltz case. It's the only time they can be in your home. Even the Massillon police told you November 24th, 21, they watched sticks on Federal Avenue, my daughter-in-law. They drive around their house because they tamper with their vehicles after you put a threat on their life, so they drive around. They watch the case from Massillon. Okay? Cop in uniform comes in, I'm here to watch her, Steve and Eric are stalking her, we don't know who they are yet. It's finally got funny after everything they did. Nothing's admissible. No, it's not. Police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life. Failure to notify and speaking to the other person in that home of the threat of life is abuse and misconduct. Failure to protect is abuse and misconduct. Who do you report him to? Police or agencies for surveillance in your home. Department of Justice, FBI, ICE, and local police department to arrest him. It's the Fourth Amendment right to privacy, illegal search and seizure. It is. It can be up to a 5-year sentence. And it's not admissible. These people need to wake up and be scared of these people. Last Thursday, I was in Dr. Tater's office with a client in Mercy Medical. There's those weirdos with the computer come in. That's the one we used as an example to process. Now we can start processing more. It's not the law processing. It's terrorists extorting money and hurting them. They need to stop this. It's not going to be just me. Paymer preached within a month of this beginning. If things do not change as they are going, it won't be one that dies, but several. We need to pray. And I look at Dave and he said, it's not me. And I'm like, what on earth? Someone needs to help. People know I was drugged, I was framed, and I was photoshopped. And nobody finds it funny. Except for a few of these lowlives that think it's funny raping people and killing them. And like everything's going to be fine. It's just a reality show. No, it's real. And like that one guy said, we only let him do it to her because nobody cared about her. I was alone and vulnerable. It's not funny. I need out of here.